Hi everybody, this is Justina with JustynaTHandMade. In today's video, I'm gonna walk you through this cute crossbody pattern. And as you probably already know from the YouTube title, this is a free pattern. So you don't need to purchase the pattern to create one of those bags. I'm just happy to share my idea with you for a pretty fun, quick, and simple bag that also has a cute look to it. This purse is a crossbody bag with a zipper overlay, and we have the front pocket and the back pocket, and they are exactly the same. This pocket is pretty sizable. It easily fits a phone. This is a case for iPhone 12, and there's plenty of space inside. So I'm gonna walk you through how to create the purse, but the fun part of the bag is that those two panels are almost exactly the same except the direction of the zipper. If this is even something you care about, but through the instructions I'm gonna explain to you and make sure you are paying attention to how it needs to be done. So this bag, you're gonna create two exact same panels except the zipper pull placement, and you're gonna end up with a bag that has a zipper pocket in the front and zipper pocket on the back. This, what I think it's a clever design of the overlay, allows you to do not worry about matching your panels exactly, because we have one panel folding into the seam on this side and one panel on that side, and if your overlays are not exactly in the same place, nobody will ever notice because they do not connect. So that was my clever design, because what I don't like about patterns, that if you are not perfect, then they don't look good. I want to create a pattern that you're gonna have fun making it, because even if your measurements are not perfect to the 1/16 of an inch, you're still gonna have a nice looking product that you're gonna enjoy showing off. Because if there are any imperfections, they are not gonna be visible. So that said, I hope you are gonna enjoy this tutorial and my little tips on how to make your project look perfect with little adjustments to how you probably are used to putting bags together. All the supplies that I'm using and the overlay template will be included in the pattern file that is available for free. You just have to follow the link to the Google Drive and download a copy if you want to make this purse. I'm using vinyl. Obviously you will have to use vinyl or cork on the overlay, but on the body of the purse you can use any fabric. If you are using something that is less sturdy, I would just recommend for you to interface it. Before we get sewing, I just want to remind you that if you are not a subscriber to the channel just yet, make sure to hit the subscribe button. If you like this video, give the video a thumbs up. If you have crafty friends that would enjoy this tutorial, please make sure to share it with them. Leave a comment. That helps the channel grow, that helps to let the YouTube algorithm to recommend the video to more viewers, so I would appreciate that. And if you would like to support me, you can visit my Etsy store. There is plenty of other patterns that can be purchased. So if you like this pattern, you would like to try something else, or give me a little bit of monetary support, you can go on Etsy and purchase something from my store. And now, if you want to see how quick and fun this purse is to put together, please keep watching. So let's start with prepping our pattern pieces. The measurements and the templates gonna be available in the description, so just make sure to grab a copy of the file. Here I have my main outer panel, which they both are the same. So this is one that it's already constructed, but they come together exactly the same. I'm not gonna walk you through putting two panels together. I'm gonna just show you on this one panel, and then you're just gonna repeat it and create two panels. So we have our outers, which are cut out of vinyl. You can use waterproof canvas. I would just use something that is a little sturdier. If you want to use fabric that doesn't have the structure, you can always interface it with Decovil Light or Sofuse Plus. So this is you would cut two outers, then you would prep those two zipper overlays, and I used my scalloped pinking shears to cut the scalloped edge, but you can just leave it as is, as a half round panel. And obviously we have the opening for our zipper. We're gonna have two of the D-ring tabs, two D-ring rings, which are 1 inch. I'm using a webbing tape that is 1 inch in width. If you're using a different size, you would just have to adjust your measurement for your hardware, but I would not recommend using anything wider. You can use a half inch, which would probably work very well as well, but don't use anything that is larger than 1 inch, because it's not gonna fit in the space. So that's our outers. Then you will have two short zippers, because you have to cut one for the first panel. You're gonna have 4 pieces of lining for your outside pockets, a long zipper for your top closure, and 2 large lining panels for the main lining of your back. Also, I already prepped my purse strap. If you are on my channel for some time now, you already know how to make one. If you need some instructions, just visit a video for a different crossbody purse, and videos that are a couple months older will have the instructions how to put the strap together. Also, I have a zipper end cap that you can purchase on Amazon. They are very available right now, so nothing to you have to especially hunt for. I have some rivets that I'm gonna be using for my strap, and I have zipper pulls. I have 2 here, but this is the 3rd one, so you're gonna need 3 zipper pulls. I also attach my back tag already, since I have my front panel finished. I would recommend you do that too. You can actually create both panels, then see which one you think you did better job on, and then attach your back tag to that panel to make it the front panel of your back. I'm also gonna use some double-sided tape. This is 1/8 of an inch double-sided tape. I like to use that because it's easy to keep it out of the way of your seam. Of course, I'm gonna be using a thread. I'm gonna be using Gutenberg Mera 70 thread, the thread I always use. It works great with domestic sewing machine, and exactly that's the machine I'm gonna be using to put this back together, since that's the only machine I own. So first of all, to put our second panel together, we're gonna put the lining out of the way, zippers, and we can put the finished panel on the side as well. First, we're gonna put the lining of our packet together so it's out of the way, and then we can work on the outer. So you're gonna have your lining panels right side up. They are both the same size, so it doesn't matter which one you start with. So take your lining panel, put it right side up, take your smaller zipper and align the edge of the zipper with the top edge of the lining and clip. Flip it over, take your second lining and making sure this is the right side up, so both linings are right sides together. Align the other edge of the zipper tape along the top edge of your lining panel. And when you have that done, you want to make sure that you have the right side of the lining with the wrong side of the zipper, and the wrong side of your lining with the right side of your zipper. Now that you have that ready, you're gonna take the project to the machine and you're gonna sew along this edge with the 1/8 or 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Then you're gonna flip your project, making sure the lining stays out of the way, and you're gonna sew the other side of your zipper to the other lining panel. This way we're gonna create our lining for our outside pocket. If you wanna construct both at the same time, just double the project. So just work on both at the same time, and you're gonna be putting together two panels at the same time. So now take your project to the machine and sew the zipper to the lining panels of the zipper pocket. Now that I have my lining sewn in, I also inserted my zipper pull, so the pocket lining or the lining of the pocket is ready to use when we are finished with sewing up our overlay. So let's put that to the side. Now we're gonna start with attaching our D-ring tab. To do that, I'm gonna use some double-sided tape. I'm gonna take a ruler, or you can just use your mat, and I'm gonna place it 3/4 away from the edge. And here we want to make sure that it's in the right place, because we're gonna be placing our overlay 2 inches below the top edge. So we want to make sure that the end is covered. So that looks good. And now we're gonna take our overlay and place some double-sided tape all the way around. And now we're gonna place the overlay at the 2-inch mark. Make sure it's nice and straight. You can place a ruler here so you can see how it's looking. So mine now is attached, and now that I have that placed, I'm gonna take my project to the machine and I'm gonna sew my overlay all the way around around the outside edge of my overlay with the 1/8 of an inch seam allowance and 3.5 stitch length, attaching the overlay to the outer panel and also attaching my D-ring tab to my project. So take it to the machine, sew all the way around with the 1/8 of an inch seam allowance and 3.5 stitch length. Now that the overlay is attached and our D-ring tab it's also attached, we're gonna cut out the mid part of our zipper opening because we don't need that fabric. After we have the zipper opening cut out, we're gonna finish up our D-ring tab. So we're gonna do what I did on the first panel. We're gonna make a slit that it's about 1/2 inch below the seam line, so it should be below the edge of your webbing tape, but it doesn't really matter. You just want to make sure you're going to be cutting through the overlay. So I'm gonna actually use I have some flimsy ruler. I'm gonna place it inside just to protect everything else. And now I'm gonna make a slit that is the same width of the webbing tape, so it's gonna be 1 inch, that it's about 1/2 inch below the seam line, in line with the zipper opening line. So just to make sure that my cut is all the way through. Now I'm gonna take the D-ring, I'm gonna thread it onto my webbing and then thread the webbing through the opening I just cut. You want to make sure that those two tabs are about the same size. If not adjusted, it's easier when you're working on both at the same time, so you can adjust them easier. The good part of the design is that you will never see the tabs together, so if they are slightly different or in a different position on a slightly different length, nobody will ever notice it. So now that we have our tape inserted into our overlay, we're gonna attach the other end of the webbing tape with rivets. If you don't have rivets or you don't want to use rivets, you can just sew. So you can sew along this part and below the cut. This way you will attach your webbing tape and it's gonna be functioning perfectly. If you don't want to do it because there's a quite number of layers to sew through, you can use rivets like I do. So let's attach our webbing with rivets. Now that we have our D-ring tab completed, we're gonna attach our pocket. So you're gonna take your lining that you created for the pocket and make sure you have your zipper pull on at this point, and make sure that your lining is nice and flat. You can finger press it, making sure it's not gonna fold after you attach it with the double-sided tape inside your opening. And now you can choose the direction of your zipper. On the front, I like my pocket to close when I pull the zipper towards the front of me. With the back panel, that it's closer to my body, I like the zipper to close when I put it again to the front, so it has to be in the opposite direction. So the panels will be sewn together like that. This is gonna be my front, this is gonna be my back, so I want the zipper pull when closed to be in this position. This is totally up to you how you like your bags to function. If you like the opposite, just do the opposite. Just keep in mind that now we should think about the placement of the zipper pull, so the packet function the way you like it. All right, so now I have my panel prepped. I'm gonna add some double-sided tape along the edges of the zipper tape. And now I'm gonna center the zipper inside of my zipper opening. So what I'm paying attention to, if the zipper coils are in the middle of my opening, and if I have equal overhang on both sides of my zipper opening, so I have enough space to catch the ends of the zipper in the seam. We can check on this side. We have a good amount of space, perfect. And now that we have that placement done, you want to make sure that your lining is nice and open on the back of your project. And you're gonna take your project to the machine and you're gonna sew along the zipper opening with the 1/8 of an inch seam allowance and 3.5 stitch length. You can overlap the stitches on the end side of your zipper. That's what I'm gonna do. So I'm gonna start on this short edge, continue all around, and then come back down, enforcing the stitches and also locking my thread in place so it won't unravel. So take your project to the machine and sew the lining in, making sure it stays nice and open on the back. Now that we have our packet completed, that means we have both of our outer panels completed, and as you can see, they look identical, except I have my back deck on the front panel. And now we're gonna start putting the project together. So we're gonna be prepping our outers and our lining at the same time. So you're gonna take your outer, and where you have the left side of your purse, so this is my front panel, and this is the left side of my panel. So this is where my zipper will start, and this is where the zipper tail gonna be. So what I want to do, I want to connect those two panels now, but at the edge where the zipper front ends will be. So take your front panel and your back panel, place them right sides together, and clip along the left edge. This is what you want to have, and this is where the beauty of my design comes together, because we don't have this continuous panels. We don't have to worry about aligning them so they look perfect on the side of our back. We have two panels which will end with a break in between both of them. This way, if our panels are not exactly in the same place, it won't be noticeable because we don't have them connected. So it's not only that the design is cute, it always thought out in a way where we don't have to align those panels exactly for the purse to look perfectly aligned. So when you have that done, and so I have my front, this is going to be my front and the back, and this is where the zipper will be. I have that clipped. I'm gonna repeat that with the lining as well. So I have my lining. This is the right side. This is the right side of the lining. I'm gonna clip the left side of the linings together. So now that we have that done, we're gonna take our project to the machine, and we're gonna sew along the clipped edge of our outer panels. Just keep in mind that you have the D-ring here, so you may have to move it around or use a zipper foot to complete that seam. And we're gonna also sew the lining on the left edge of our project. And we're gonna be sewing with the 3/8 of an inch seam allowance and 3.5 stitch length. Make sure to backstitch on the beginning and on the end of your seam. Now that we have the lining and the outer sewn along the left edge, which this is our front, so that edge should be sewn, and I also based the seam allowance so it's nice and flat on the top. You can also do that. It just base stitch at 1/8 of an inch. Now we're gonna work on our zipper closure. So you're gonna take the long zipper tape, and we're gonna create our folded ends. I'm gonna use the lighter. You can base stitch it, do whatever you are comfortable with, but this is what we want to end up with. I'm just pinching it, folding the tape, creating a nice finished edge to the front zipper end. Done. We're gonna just knit our outer for now. So we have the zipper ends created. We wanna now align our tape about 3/8 of an inch away from our seam, and clip. Now we're gonna take a ruler and measure 1.5 inches from the tail end of our zipper. So I'm measuring 1.5 inches from the edge of my panel and marking it. And this is where I'm gonna slip my zipper. Now that I have this part of the zipper base clipped, I'm gonna split the tape and mirror the layout on the other edge. So I'm gonna place the end of the zipper in the 3/8 of an inch away from my seam, clip it, when I have my project prepped like this, I'm gonna take it to the machine and I'm gonna base the zipper tape onto my outer panel. So I'm gonna be basting the zipper, making sure I'm slipping the zipper tails. So I'm gonna be sewing it along the edge, slipping the zipper tail and stitching a little bit over just to make sure this slip of the tail of the zipper is held in place. Do the same on the other side. and I'm going to be sewing with the 1/8 of an inch seam allowance and 3.5 stitch length. Now that my zipper is base to the outer panel, I'm going to take my lining, and here you can just finger press the seam because this is just a woven cotton, and I'm gonna now clip the lining along the edge where my zipper is. Now that I have my lining clipped to the top edge, I'm gonna take the project to the machine and I'm gonna sew the lining on with the 1/4 of an inch seam allowance and 3.5 stitch length. Again, making sure that my zipper tails are staying out of the way of the seam. So you wanna keep attention to the zipper tails and just sew the lining onto the outer panels along the top edges of both. Now that my lining is sewn into my outer, I can flip it open, and you're probably wondering, why am I doing this kind of odd construction of the bag? But there is a reason behind it, because I want to have a perfect connection between the lining and the outer where I have my front zipper, and this way sewing it all the way through with the one seam gives me the guarantee of this happening, because I really don't like matching the outers with the lining. It often it's a little off, which frustrates me a lot. So this way we have it all figured out by connecting our panels on the front side of our purse first. So that was the reasoning behind sewing the purse this way. Now that that's done, we're gonna flip the lining in the correct positions, so both panels are wrong sides together. You can clip the midpoint, finger press your project, and now we're gonna take it back to the machine, and now we're gonna top stitch along the zipper edge with the 1/8 of an inch seam allowance and 3.5 stitch length. I'm gonna stop my top stitching about 3/4 of an inch from the edge. Yet again, the reason for it is so we have better alignment of the lining and the outer on the back side of our bag. But if that won't happen for you or for me, we're gonna have the zipper tail on the end of the bag that's gonna cover any imperfection. So putting the bag together this way gives you a perfect alignment on the front of your bag where it's the most visible. And then if we have a little disalignment on the tail end, we're gonna cover by having our tail of the zipper out, covering the little imperfection. Now that our zipper is top stitched, we're gonna open the project, and now we're gonna connect our sides. And again, because we didn't sew or top stitch all the way to the end, it should be easier to do so. So you can have two options. You can fold the seam up, you can align the lining and clip, so then your lining is in the same position, and you can do it because this part of the outer is not top stitched. And now you're gonna clip all the way around the outer and the lining. In the lining, you want to mark an opening for a turning hole. So I marked about 6 inches in width to have it open so I can turn my project right side out. And now that I have the outer and the lining clipped together, I'm gonna take my project to the machine and I'm gonna sew, starting with this point, so making sure I'm aligning this end. I'm gonna sew the outer with the 3/8 of an inch seam allowance and 3.5 stitch length. And here I'm gonna sew my lining. You can increase the seam allowance a little bit on the lining so it has a tighter fit inside of your bag. So start with 3/8 of an inch, increase it to 1/2 inch, continue the 1/2 inch on the bottom up to this point, back stitch well, and continue the seam over in this small part at 1/2 inch. So take your project to the machine and connect the linings and the outer panels together. Now that our outers and lining are sewn in, and I totally forgot to leave the turning hole, I'm gonna fix it with the next clip. So don't do my mistake. Make sure you leave the opening for the turning hole. And this is the example of showing you that my sewing is not always perfect, but that's easily fixable. I'm not even gonna worry about it. So now that we have the outer and the lining sewn, we're gonna box our corners. If you don't want your purse to have box corners, you just want a flat purse, you can skip that step. If you want to give your purse a little depth, let's box the corners. I'm gonna make corners that are 1 inch square, and I'm measuring from the seam line. And now I'm gonna box the corners. I like to nest the seam allowances against each other. That always gives me the best result. So that's what I'm gonna do. And when I have all my box corners prepped like this, I'm gonna take my project to the machine and I'm gonna sew the box corners on the outers with the 1/4 of an inch seam allowance and 3.5 stitch length. And the box corners on my lining, I'm gonna sew with the 3/8 of an inch seam allowance and 3.5 stitch length, making sure I'm back stitching on the beginning and on the end of each seam. I have my box corners sewn and I created my opening, so now I can turn my project right side out. I like to open the seam on the side and clip it. So now I can just turn the whole project right side out. Give it a look, make sure everything is looking good. I think everything on my back is looking fine. So now that I'm happy with it, I'm gonna take the lining out, fold the raw edges inside. And now I'm gonna take it back to the machine and close the opening with the 1/8 or 1/16 of an inch seam allowance and 3.5 stitch length, making sure I'm back stitching on the beginning and on the end of the seam. And this way my lining will be completed. My lining now is sewn. I'm gonna place it back in my purse. Now we just have to finish up our zipper. So you want to make sure that the ends align nicely. Take your zipper pull and insert it onto your zipper. That looks perfect. I don't know how I did it the first time around. But now that we have that done, we're gonna finish up the tail of our zipper. You can leave it as long as you like. I like it a little shorter, so I'm just gonna trim it by about 1.5 inches. Take my zipper end, get my little screw. And now I'm gonna attach my zipper end. Take my strap, clip it on the D-ring tabs. And my bag, it's completed and ready to use. The project is now completed. Our fast crossbody purse is done. This is a pretty straightforward pattern, but I think by adding this little overlays in this unique way, it gives the purse a little bit of a unique look, which I did not see before. So I hope you're gonna enjoy it. Like I said, this is a free pattern, so you can access the pattern file directly from the description of this video, just by clicking on the Google Drive link and downloading a copy of the pattern. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and that you're gonna give the project a go. If you create one or many of those cute little crossbody purses, please make sure to share your creations with me on Instagram, or you can post your make in the Facebook group. I would love to see your versions. If you have any questions, just leave a comment under this video or contact me directly on Facebook or Instagram, and I'll try to help you out as much as I can. Don't forget to check if you are a subscriber. If not, make sure you hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell so you won't miss any future upcoming videos, and give the video a like, letting people know that this video is helpful. Till the next time.